Hey, we're Sage Against the Machine. Back again. It's been about a week. I'm Joshua.
I'm Isaac.
And we have a guest today. Let's introduce our guest here, Isaac.
So this is Peter Bigtree. Everybody on the res knows him. Everybody calls him Petey. And so Josh and I have been on a little break here because our schedules don't line up well. And Petey's our first guest that we were able to bring back. And why don't you introduce yourself, Petey?
Hi, I'm Peter Bigtree.
And what are you running for?
I'm running for chief.
So what was it that made you decide that you wanted to run for tribal council this time?
I'm kind of disabled now, and I've never had it easy in my life, so I'd like to get an easy job where I get to sit down. All right.
Hear that, everybody? Super easy being a chief. What kind of car are you going to buy first?
Well, I got a stinking Lincoln right now, so
That's a nice car, though.
I'll probably get a truck.
Yeah, you got to upgrade to the Cadillac. That's the rules, right?
Nope. I'm not like that. I'll probably get a truck.
What happened to the Dodge you had?
I actually sold it. It was more or less a chicken coop. You know what I mean? I had a chicken living in that truck all the time.
Yeah, that was a pretty funny story you were telling us.
Yeah, that was a red story for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
So you're running for tribal chief, and did you ever think of doing this before?
Yeah, I did, but it was back a ways back, and I dropped out
Yeah.
Why'd you drop out?
because someone said that you had a DWI and you can't run it, chief, and somebody else told me every single one of those chiefs on that chart had a DWI in their life.
You know what? That's an
But
interesting thing. So the tribe in the election ordinance, there are rules for certain things that could disqualify you as to be able to run for office. So for a DWI, I don't know I don't think that rises to the level of disqualification. When you found that out, did that bother you?
A little. It was a political trick, but I wasn't working away every week, so I really didn't understand that. You know what I mean? It didn't bother me much. I just, it didn't hurt to try. Just like it doesn't hurt to try this time around. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you worked your whole life. You're not one of these paper pushers.
Nope.
So tell us about it. Tell us about your life a little bit.
Very hard, and I wish it upon nobody. I am a single parent. I brought up 3 kids. I paid a nanny every week to have my career. Plus, I got a Class A driver's license. I drive trucks too for construction, and I'm a carpenter, and I weld too, and I went to school to be a supervisor, a boss. So I have college too, and I graduated at Salmon River.
So you do have leadership training. It's not people like to talk about university.
Exactly. I've actually been pushing. I pushed on jobs too. That's being a foreman. I don't know if it was because
Your phone, put it on silent.
Oh yeah.
I could hear it.
That's okay.
I'm old school, so I don't know much about.
Right, you gotta do it. This is the old school look. You get it on your phone and you squint like, what the hell is that?
I do that too. What the hell?
That's the old school. That's just because you're getting old. You can't see.
Yeah, I know. So you were born in Akwesasne.
Yep.
You raised your whole life. You know everybody.
Yep.
Just outside, I asked you if you knew this certain guy, and you said, I know everybody.
Yeah.
So do you think that helps you, in this process, having such close ties to the community?
Well, I hope so, because I've worked all my life. I've had it hard raising 3 kids by my own, and being a single parent, not easy. And I was also a coach for lacrosse, minor lacrosse and senior. Another thing, not easy to do. So, and my son was in lacrosse his whole life, and my grandkids are in lacrosse now, and my daughter's in lacrosse.
So how many kids do you have?
I have 4. I have 2 boys and 2 girls.
And how many grandkids do you have?
I have 4. 1 boy and 3 granddaughters.
So you're really in there, contributing back to the community. How many years did you coach lacrosse?
I coached when I was minor. That was probably a year each time.
Yeah.
And then I gave the team to a couple guys.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was my first heart attack. I had to give away that team.
Right.
And now they're best in the world.
Yeah.
players.
So you
Really proud of them.
you've set up a foundation for these kids. You know, you were in there to establish a really good foundation and build up that team.
That's why last year I coached all summer, and the team was very, very great. And they were seniors. But, I got sick. My heart, I can't coach this summer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Getting old,
Yeah. Well, it depends on your lifestyle too, right? You got to take care of yourself or it catches up to you, right?
Yeah.
Keep telling myself that, but then the food's just so good.
I know. I did it last night.
Oh, yeah?
I got the baby calzones.
Oh, my.
Oh, man.
I love those things. Aren't they good? Like, I love those things. You know what? Brass should be, they should sponsor us too. I'm going to go talk to Frank.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Killing you one snack at a time.
Hey, I know. You know what? I can't make excuses for it. I just love it, and I'm fat as shit. But I mean, eventually I'll stop. I think.
Yeah, eventually you'll stop for sure. So, what are some of the challenges you think we face? Like, what would you like to tackle?
I'd like to tackle communication for the first thing. Communicate with with the people of this reservation. And I'm right out there with you. I go to all the events. I'm just a regular. I'm just running for chief because I need a job and I'm looking for an easy job. Physically, not mentally.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, you just want to be on call all the time.
So you tend to think that most of the people on tribal council have soft hands?
Well, yeah, in a way. They haven't had it as hard as me physically, but I just don't want the people mad at me. I'm going to be out there with you all the time.
Sure.
You can ask me anything. I don't care. I'll talk to you. I don't degrade nobody. Like all my friends, they're drugs or alcoholics. Who cares? They're still my friends. They just didn't have the power to say no like I did.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up at a young age, and I suppose that's what made me, work so hard all my life is having to grow up at a young age.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've never had an easy life, and I just like to make life a little bit easier for the community, especially single moms, shelters, rehabs, all that good stuff. Pantries every week, food giveaways, make life a little bit easier.
So they want to use more resources to
Exactly.
help the downtrodden.
Yeah, it's not easy having kids. You gotta, everything's about your family.
Yeah.
It ain't about the greed. It's about your family. That's the most important thing.
So what is it in the communication, the way they communicate? Because I agree, but what do you see? What really grinds your gears about the way they communicate? And because you always, I would never,
I can never ever ask for anybody and they answer me.
Yeah.
Never happens.
Right.
Yeah.
But,
and I'm like a person, who's always wondering, could always use the information. Just like in meetings, if I was a chief, I'd want everybody's input on the reserve, because I'm not that smart, right? Why not get all the ideas from your community instead of, calling up the White House and asking them, well,
So you see the community as intelligent as we do as well, and that's one of the gripes that we kind of have too.
There's a lot of smarter people than me. I'm just wise, and that's because I've been all over the place.
The life experience.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people out there who's got way more college. Who's well, I'd like to see your info and listen to it so I can learn off you, so I can learn that knowledge.
So more of that idea of collectivism, collaboration.
Exactly.
Utilize that more.
Yeah.
Is there your life experience? You talked about the kids. Are there things that you see? Shortfalls in terms of things for the kids to do, to lead them into a more productive thing, because, and this isn't, this isn't just for me to talk about negative things. It's just that, like the clubhouse that they have for the kids and things like that. Those are great things. But, what is it that you think leads the kids to so much boredom? Like what could we do as a community to kind of have more positive outlets, things for them to get into?
I think it's you watch them on the phone and tell them, you can have phone at this amount of time on a phone a day but you got to do your chores first. You know, simple stuff like that, which teaches them respect and teaches them that they got to work for things. You're bored, you want to go play outside.
Mm-hmm.
Get out there and enjoy it. Go build a tree house or whatever. Get out in nature.
Yeah.
My grandkids, they get my grandson, he gets all Tonka trucks. I grew up with my best friend across the road, and we played with Tonka our whole life, and we're all construction and truck drivers now,
Yeah.
tractor trailer drivers. Class A license, and
Yep.
he's an operator. It's funny, how we grew up, and yet later in life we actually did what we wanted to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So how do we do that? Like how can I have this. People seem to have this idea that government's like magic and it can just wave its hand and things change but there's hows like a lot of young people they need discipline and they need good habits, but they don't all have parents that can do that.
Yeah.
Like what are some things like
my grandkids are only 5 and 6, and they know if they want something from me, they're gonna have to work for it.
Yeah.
And it's only 5 minutes of work. I'm
Sure.
not gonna torture them 8 hours. But they'll do it.
Yeah.
And I try to tell my older sons, I said, don't look at this like work, like making you a slave. I'm giving you advice.
Right.
So later in life you can do this. My sons they can do anything.
Yeah.
But it's their choice not to do it.
So you see that too is because we were talking and you said you're old school, and I know you, and you are old school. So there was that idea, the way that things used to be is, you had to have, you had chores, you had things to do, and that would kind of set you as a young person on a path to get stuff done, right?
Yeah. Just like the seed giveaway a couple of weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
The trees I made my 5-year-old grandson help me plant them.
Yeah.
Just so he knew. It wasn't torturing him or nothing. I planted them with him, but I made him be with me right there. So later in 15 years down the road, he can say, me and my grandpa planted that when I'm 8 feet in the ground.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He'll remember that for the rest of his life.
Yeah, it's a point of pride.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so, yeah, because I think that, and I do believe that, my generation, we were, we had a little bit of that old school, stuff that was pumped into us, and this isn't insulting the kids of the next generation, but I do think it's beneficial for them to be able to, get their hands in there and learn practical things, right? So
exactly.
one of the things that I've, looked at is I think that we see, like in my generation in particular, we had, the message was always go to college. That's the key.
Yeah.
Do you think that it would be, good for our community to have the kids, as much as college is encouraged, to also encourage getting into the trades?
Yes, I'm 100% for technical trades. I remember Barack Obama said that when he was in office. He says, take a trade school.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was right.
Because we're running low on plumbers and
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're always having
and immigrants now.
yeah.
But that was good advice from him. I was surprised, wow, he's right.
He is right.
Yeah.
I mean, that was
Because even like when you take a tomato plant,
Yeah.
okay, once it's ready to harvest, give your grandson a bite of that tomato and say, you grew this.
Right.
You know what I mean? That'd be so satisfying. He'll remember that, and you never know. He might turn
Yeah.
into a farmer of real, the way he should live.
Yeah.
Little things like that. You think that they don't recognize, they do later in life.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, it's just important, I think, to be able to encourage the kids to know, that it's not just one path you have to go down.
Yeah,
It's-
exactly. Every time I do something in the yard, come on with me.
Mhm.
He doesn't really want to, but it's only a learning experience
Yeah.
for him for later in life. Everything I do, even when I yell at my son, I says, remember, this is only advice.
Yeah.
Okay? When I put stuff on Facebook, it's only advice. You can get mad at me. I don't care. It's only advice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like my daughter's hair. It took me a year to learn how to do my daughter's hair because I was a single parent. And I put it on Facebook. Single dads, this is how you do your daughter's hair. You use a comb and you cut it into squares before you put the hair ties in. You know, that's good advice when you're a single dad. Nobody ever taught me that. You know?
Yeah. I know single fathers who,
it's not
they
easy.
They learn how to do hair. They learn how to braid. They learn how to do all that stuff.
You learn how to match their clothes. You learn how to put them in dresses. You better have the right socks on, too. You know, the right stockings, everything. It's not easy bringing up daughters. And whatever you do, you don't dress them like the sun.
No.
Yeah.
I tried that. Don't work.
So you get elected, okay, and you get in there. What are some things you like start doing? Because you're gonna have to work in the system that's already there, and you're gonna have to function with these people.
I'm kind of scared of Trump.
Yeah.
He's he'll be taking away things, and
He's a fascist dictator.
It kind of seems like when you're a reservation, you have to deal with the government to get anything. And I was trying to just think of things that we could deal with the government, you know. And I've only got like 2 or 3 I've been thinking of, but you got to do a deal for him, you know, to get funding.
Which ones were you thinking of?
I was thinking of the employment of the Northeast and New York. You know, look how many people are employed by this reservation. Something like that, and say, well, if we don't get the funding, we can play ball too.
So use it as leverage.
You got no choice. We don't have very much else.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, we should have more leverage than we do.
I mean, I don't want to start a war and say, okay, we can cut down your shipping.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's the middle of the St. Lawrence, it's international.
Sure.
And you go through our side of the waters to ship, something like that. You got to play ball with stuff, you know, and I'm thinking that all the time.
Well, I mean, they do say that trillions of dollars of, materials and goods and all that go through our territory on the river.
Right. Then if we, land issues, if we own land like way up on the south, we own that land, down there you can play ball too. You got to use leverage and it seems like I watch a lot of news and stuff, and it seems like we're gonna end up doing that, you know. So it doesn't seem like it's gonna be a gravy job.
Right.
Physically, it will be, but
right.
not mentally.
Right. You grew up with hard. You came up about hard labor.
I've actually every city I've worked in worked with every race of human being on the earth. A lot of people didn't. So I see how it works.
Yeah.
And a lot of people need experience. A lot of people look at ironworkers, oh, them guys are up in the air and they're scared. No, that ain't just it. You get to work with every race there's ever been in the world.
Yeah.
You learn from stuff. Not every guy's just there to work every day. You learn from experience.
Yeah, and you're in charge of multi-million-dollar equipment.
Yeah.
It's not banging a hammer. It's a lot.
Right.
It's a lot more than that.
And it's also a risk to your life.
And you talk to these guys, they're your friends later on the job. If you're on the job a long time, you get to know them. And
so you're
Chinese, Filipinos, you name it. You've worked with all of them.
Yeah, because I would imagine.
So that's a good experience for you. You know?
the type of man that I know you to be. I could imagine that you stay in touch with, guys who you worked with that are, Chinese or whatever other, background.
Yeah, you go to New York City, and the first time you go there, somebody with you might be scared. What are you scared of? These are normal human beings. Mm-hmm. The homeless, they're not scary. They're nice. You just don't be scared of them.
Yeah.
They're human. They're just like you. And they just had it rough, you know what I mean? And you gotta always. I look at people like I don't really degrade them because I had it so rough in my life that.
Yeah.
How could you even have it rougher? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm all crippled up from working all my life for providing for my family. Once you have kids, that's your job for good. No more yourself, no more me. You provide your kids, and don't care about what anybody says. You're doing your job.
Yeah.
You're providing for your family, and that's your job for the rest of your life.
And that's the kind of attitude you're going to take into for the community.
And you try to preach that to your kids. Once you have kids, this is your job for life. Mm-hmm. Later on, they're going to give you the best present in the world, and that's grandkids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Grandkids are medicine.
Yeah.
once you get old and you're disabled or whatever, you love it when your grandkids come over. They make you feel young again, you know. I do stupid things with my grandkids all the time. My granddaughters, we have dance parties, everything. And I dance with them, and I'm disabled, and I'll try, you know. And they see that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, your videos, I can't remember which one exact, because I love your videos on Facebook, but that's what I said. PD's a legend.
Yeah, having dance parties with my granddaughters.
It's great.
Gotta get
Too
on
many
TikTok.
guys would do that, you know.
I don't know. PD can't. PD doesn't. You don't listen to the podcast, so
I don't even know how.
Well, Josh said, to get you on TikTok, and actually,
I don't even know to use TikTok either.
Well,
you know I'm old school.
I know. Yeah, you are, but you would do well on TikTok. I know you would.
Yeah, because I don't care what anybody thinks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As long as I got my grandkids, I don't.
Yeah.
You can talk bad about me. I'm just a normal Mohawk Indian like anybody else.
Yep.
And I've not had an easy life, so.
Yeah. So you brought up Trump, and I think that's something, on this show, we don't, the focus is on Akwesasne and local issues, what's going on in the community.
I'm just going by funding.
Well, but that's one of the things is that, when you talk about Trump, a lot of people are concerned, and this has already been proposed, to do some cutting of funding to, the federally recognized tribes.
IHS.
Yeah, and that's
FEMA buildings.
Now, so far they haven't talked about cuts to IHS, but that's something, you talked about your health stuff. Right, and so...
They have talked about ending the rental on many IHS buildings.
Yeah, and actually I think that they're going to do that as far as...
There was like 330 of them were like
yeah,
Indians.
Yeah, and so, I mean, so when it comes to particularly about the healthcare, because, I think our clinic does a great, I think they do a great job. And so, and it's already, the wait times are already long. I mean, so is that something that you're really concerned with? If they cut the IHS funding at all?
Scary thing. If he starts cutting the healthcare, what are we going to do now?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Go to Canada.
Well, yeah, but you'd have to we'd have to move there.
We'd have to move our mailboxes over there.
Well, okay. But I'm just saying, if the funding for IHS is cut in a significant way, we're going to have a lot of people die.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to be morbid or, too skies falling kind of thing, but
we have people die now waiting for MRIs, waiting for drugs, waiting for things to clear.
And it's not, it's not the clinic's fault. It's not the health department's fault. I put that on the federal government. And if they do it again, if they cut significantly, we could be seeing a lot of people passing away from that.
Think about when you're faithful to your prescriptions. Mm-hmm. You take them every day, because now you're old. You have to.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, miss a couple of days and see what happens. Your body tells you something's wrong. You actually feel it. Geez, what's going on? It's because you've been off your medication for a couple of days. You see how it becomes part of your everyday thing.
Yeah.
And your body tells you things, what's wrong,
So that's something you see as
oh, yeah.
If funding is cut for the clinic, we're in big trouble.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we are.
Yeah, we'd have to make it up somewhere else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And where would we come up with that? I think that the expansion or innovative ideas for, revenue generation for our local economy, is that something you look at too?
Yeah, because like I said, us being a reservation, I don't think he really cares about us.
Right.
And so I always say we got to play ball with something.
Yeah.
Got to make a deal with that government no matter what, because we are a federal reservation. And I'm proud of everybody who does uprisings and everything for our rights, but when it comes down to it, you got to think about things like that too. He just cut us off 100%, and
So being pragmatic about it,
sure, I'm proud of everybody
threading
who does
that line.
But you got to be careful.
Threading that needle.
Yeah, you got to be careful.
Yeah.
So what are some deals we could do? What do you have in mind with deals?
Employment.
Yeah.
Fuel for all around the reservation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Say, well, we can cut them off, and your Social Service will pay for everything.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta think of deals like that.
Yeah.
You gotta, you gotta play ball with them.
Yeah.
What are some ways we can create employment that you see like?
I see like I'm all for the pot shops. I'm all
Yeah.
for businesses, but have the Indians build these businesses. Don't call somebody from the outside of this reservation. You give the work to them, they will hire Indians.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
companies around here use them
Yeah.
to put up your building. It'd be built a lot quicker.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it'll put people.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm all for it because providing jobs either under the table or over the table doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Job is a job as long as you work and make money. So at the end of the week, you feel proud.
Yeah.
You know, I made this money. I bought groceries. I paid my bills.
Yeah.
And I tell you, when you got a family, it doesn't matter how much money you have. The richest part is just to have your family.
Sure.
You know, say you're a millionaire, but you're alone.
Right.
Does that make you feel better than your next door neighbor who's got his family over there for a birthday and everybody's outside by? You wish you were like that. You envy him.
Yeah.
So that tells you right there in your mind, family's more important than money. That's why I always say, you know, social media, I'll say, don't chase greed.
Right.
Because of reasons like that, when you're alone, it doesn't matter how much money you got. You want a family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because you get, I mean, if you're rich, you could pay people to take care of you, right?
Yeah,
but that you would feel alone, lonely.
Exactly. When you have a family, you have it all.
Yeah.
Everybody envies you. They want that.
Yeah.
You know? And then, I mean, same thing for addicts. You don't have a family, but you see that family. I want to be like that. Well, stop doing drugs and be like that.
Yeah.
It ain't hard to do. You know, stay
Yeah.
busy, get a job. It don't matter what kind of job you get. A job's a job. Everybody's going to be proud of you.
Yeah.
You get what I'm getting at?
Yeah, for sure.
Doesn't matter what you do, as long as you're providing for your family, everybody will be proud of you. Nobody will talk bad about you ever again in your life.
Yeah, because even no matter what the job is,
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
nobody can say you're not contributing back in some way. You're not earning your own way.
I mean, as just for like I'm really 100% for creating jobs and putting people to work, and I'm glad my daughter's going to be a psychologist because you gotta break their mind and say no, work. It's almost the cure for everything. Doesn't matter what kind of job you got, but really, if depression and anxieties bother you, somebody brainwashed you because in my day there was no such thing. You worked, and half an hour later you didn't feel like you were depressed. You know.
No, but just had rampant
I got picked
alcoholism
on
and
in
murder.
Yeah, well,
I got picked on in school today. All right, go over and mow that old lady's
yeah,
lawn next door. Give you 15 minutes and you'll be back and you won't be sad no more.
yeah. I hear you.
You'll just drink yourself to death.
Now tell me that doesn't work. It works, you know.
I mean, I do think there is value. I mean, obviously, there's value in work. You know what I mean? I think that
Sometimes in life you have to go back to the old ways, and that was probably the best way.
yeah,
Somebody, you know, farmers, you might, when you were young, you were thinking, oh my God, they got it bad. Oh, that was probably the proper way because you learned to respect your elders and you learned how to work and make money, you know, so you could be normal. That's a good way of being brought up, by the way, you know. And a lot of it's changing is try to teach that to the new era, and it's not easy to do.
So, what are some ways that you say you get elected? What are some ways that the tribal council can do that? And what are barriers in the way of employment? Because everybody that wants to get elected says, "Yeah, I'll make jobs." Okay, how?
Well, like I says, if I hear somebody ask me, you know, I says, well, hire around here because they're gonna put everybody to work,
Right.
either under the table or over the table. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But not only that is you gotta everybody listen to your people and see their ideas of let's ask them at a meeting, how would I go about this? You know, somebody's gonna know the answer and say, well, you want to create jobs, you're gonna have to do this and do that. All right.
So is that something where, you know, because like the specifics of it, what about, so, you know, yes, I agree we should be hiring as many Akwesasne as possible for these jobs. What ways would you be able, you know, what are you thinking of to create, like specifically to create more jobs? You know, so like, would you be in favor of, say, creating tribally owned businesses, you know, say like tobacco manufacturing, things like that. Was that something you would be
Definitely
looking at?
yes. Definitely yes. Create jobs for people who live on a reservation. Off the reservation, you got Walmart, you got McDonald's, you got all that. What we don't have.
Right.
So I'm for manufacturing jobs, 100%. Stores, pot shops, everything. Just create jobs, and I'm looking at it as a mental health thing too, because I go by that old way. You work, and it's the answer for everything. Just stay busy. That's all. If you have to work 7 days to be normal, then do it. You don't gotta have the hardest job in the world. Look for the easiest job is, so it don't pay that much. But if you work 7 days, it does. You get what I'm getting at? So my daughter, being a psychologist, will bring back that mental way of thinking. Maybe this is the answer, and we skip it, thinking, no, let's look on social media and let's just look at our phones all day. No, I think that old way is the answer. Just work, and you won't have no problems, and nobody will make talk about you, because we go back to addicts. We got to get rid of the addicts.
Well, I do see. I like I said, I understand the value of work, but I wonder if the old way of just work, if that drives people into, because I wonder if the value of having free time to be with your family.
Yes,
to
you will make
decompress.
free time.
Okay.
You will make that free time. You'll say, now I only want 8 hours, because you're obligated to your family first.
Right. Because
But
I think
you
that there's
will do that. Iron workers come no matter what. They
Yeah.
travel every single weekend. I mean, I hate to brag about them, but hey, they're doing the right thing, man. They're providing for their family. They could die any second of the day. And they try to come home every single weekend and travel every weekend. That's a hard life, but it's breaking you in, because nothing else in your life will be harder than that. You know what I mean? If
Being
you can do
away
that, you
from
can
them.
do anything. You can drive a truck, you can be a carpenter, you can
Right.
be an electrician, anything you want. It's easier than that.
Yeah.
So that's more like breaking yourself in,
Yeah. What about? I mean, I just think that and I understand what you're saying about work 7 days a week, and that'll make you.
I'm just saying, if you're an addict and you're trying to
Okay.
quit,
keep yourself
stay
busy.
Yes, damn
Okay.
right. Stay busy.
What do you think
Go to
about?
community events. Involve yourself with the community, and they ain't gonna talk bad about you no more. They'll be proud of you. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? You're trying to be out there.
So we all know people who.
Don't sit there and hide and say, "Oh, this person talked to me."
Right.
Get out there, and then who cares what they think? You
Well,
are you.
We all know people who are, have had their struggles with and are currently in it. Their struggles with alcohol, drugs, all of that stuff. So, I mean, do you think do you see a problem with people attaching a stigma to a person forever?
Right?
Do
No.
you see that as a problem here?
I see those people thinking that, but
Right.
it's not like that.
Right.
1 week, 2 weeks, boom, they forget about you. You're the good person to them, Especially if you got kids, Those kids come first no matter what. You'll do time for your children. I'll put it to you that way.
Yeah.
Oh, I wouldn't go to jail, but I bet you would for your kids, wouldn't you?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And you'll do anything for your children. That's what it comes down to. Once you have kids, you are a provider for the rest of your life.
Would you now, we're talking about addicts and, alcohol abuse and all of that stuff. Is that something that you want to focus on a lot? Is,
Yes.
treatment?
Yes.
Okay.
But I'm not an easygoing guy. I'm not going to sit there and baby you and let you sleep for 10 hours a day. You will work. You will earn that free place shelter you're staying in, whether you want to or not. And I am not going to pay you, because that's how you're going to pay your bills for that shelter. You're going to work, and that'll break you of your addiction.
So you're looking at funding more programs that will
Yes,
do that.
exactly.
Do that sort of
You
get
got to
you
try
off the
to
street.
break. I mean, we're not geniuses. Everybody's been trying to break an addict. But I bet you if you work them, sometimes you have to go back to that old way.
What about people though? I mean, you said, I'm going to make you work. You're not going to sleep, and I'm not going to pay you.
I'm
Don't you
gonna
think
feed
people
you.
would? Don't you think? I mean,
I'm a
all
round you up and
respect,
create
but-
a
Yeah, I
program.
mean, I don't know that.
Donald Trump
you know,
would like
forced,
that.
Yeah, forced labor. I don't know that that's the answer.
But I can say that the wheel can spin both ways. You want me to pay you? You're going to pay rent here to stay here.
Yeah.
Okay. You're going to pay for your groceries. I'm not going to feed you.
Like working your way out of it.
There. Which one do you want?
Which
I
I
bet I'll guarantee they pick the other way.
I know, but which I understand. But
I
I'm
don't
saying,
mean work you 8 hours a day either. I mean a couple hours, just a little bit.
right.
You know?
But I mean, these people are trying to recover. So wouldn't it be best to? And I agree. When people are in treatment, give them something to do. Help out, all that stuff. But isn't it also important to understand that they're going through something that's really difficult and not to push them too hard?
Yes. I'm not going to make them slaves. I'm just saying it's an idea.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just to make them normal, do normal things, do the dishes, pick up after yourself. Normal stuff so you can be normal. It's part of your learning experience when you're in these places, to learn to be normal. And that's the goal, is to get you back in the real world so you can live on your own and raise a family. It's only a learning experience.
So are these things, like you said, doing dishes, taking out the garbage?
I mean,
all
I
that
was a
kind of
single
stuff?
dad, so I'm all for the shelters and everything for single moms. That's the right way. But teach them these things while they're in these shelters. You know what I mean? That's the goal in life, right? Then later on, you can earn a living.
Do you think that a lot of that, so you'd say like doing dishes, taking out the garbage, those like normal adulting tasks, do you think that, because, most people who are drug addicts and stuff, it's because of childhood trauma, not having that good foundation. So, along the same lines, do you see that as an issue? Is like there's a disconnect with good parenting and, that correlating and resulting in, having a person that grows up and ends up, with drug and alcohol problems?
Yeah, I'm just, I go back to the old way again. We were brought up traumatized when we were young. Mm-hmm. Everybody in that era was with alcoholism. We turned out all right. You get what I'm getting at? Because once you act normal, you're normal. Mm-hmm. Just get a job that keeps you busy. Don't got to be a hard job. Don't got to be the genius to do the job. You know what I'm saying?
Do you think, though, that, people who go through that,
depression.
Right, but it becomes, that is, I'm not saying that it's not important to, kind of change the mindset, change that, base level behavior. But there's also the thing of, I believe that people need a constant, even going forward, a group of people who will support you as well. So I just wonder if you take that into consideration as well, that, everybody going forward, when they're, when they finally break that cycle, they're still going to need that support system by them. Are you in favor of that, to have those things in place?
Oh, yeah.
Continue to help them?
Yeah. Like a rehab, yes. Mm-hmm. But the same thing goes for like a single, like a lot of people around will make fun of somebody. When a mother gets busted breaking the law, does that mother have kids? Is she a single mom? Yes, right. She's trying to provide for the kids. That's the first thing I say. I don't make fun of them. Mm-hmm. Or a dad gets, does he have kids? He's trying to provide for his family. Mm-hmm. Why would you make fun of that person? They're willing to do the time for their crime. They know exactly they're going to get time and they're going to go to jail, but they're willing to do that because they're single parents with kids, so I would never, and there's a lot of people who laugh at them and say, oh, they're no good. Why are they no good? Mm-hmm. I question that person. Why are they no good?
Right.
They're no different than you. You would do the same thing if you weren't working. You would do anything to provide for your family. You get what I'm getting at? And it goes back to once you have kids, you will provide for them the rest of your life, and you don't care what anybody thinks.
Right.
And you got to have that attitude in this world, If you want to make it, you have to have that attitude. Mm-hmm. I can't say that enough.
Is there...
And that's why I'm trying to, if I got in the office, That's what I'm looking at. Meat giveaways every month. Remember that time at the casino they did that in the parking lot? Oh my God, it must have been a 2-mile line. That's what I'm talking.
You know, I never got that stuff because
it was the best meat package ever.
Here's the thing: is I always feel like I'm poor, but I feel like there's people way worse off than me, so they must need it more.
Yeah, but don't you think
when you got a family,
I do.
That's the best idea ever.
No, I just like. Josh has this like libertarian mindset, which I understand, but it's just I also think too. It's like now if somebody's out there with an Escalade or a Mercedes or something, I'm gonna be like, like why are you out here? But I don't know. I still think that it's there's no shame in accepting the help.
No, there's not. I'm just saying it's odd that. I don't know. I feel like those who are truly in need should come first.
I agree.
And be first in the line. And so,
but don't you think that's a good idea to have those meat?
I think they're.
Wouldn't you like to see the tribe do that for their people?
Maybe.
And wouldn't you think that pantries?
Yeah,
fresh food is a great idea every week. That's a great idea. You're trying to help out the community. I'm just saying this because I'm running for chief. But you constantly going to try to help your people. Yeah,
like I think it's a good idea to have like food pantry and to have safety net and people and encourage organizations. I don't necessarily think the tribe itself should do these things. I think maybe they have money that they give to organizations that do these things, thus spreading like those minds. Like
let's say the businesses they pay in. Don't you think that would satisfy them to see that? Well, your money's going out to this food giveaway every month.
I think it would. I think the business community gets a lot of shit when they actually pay for a lot of stuff.
Just tell them what their money's being used for.
Exactly.
It's that simple, and they won't hate you.
Yeah.
Say you're helping with the community right now. We have these food pantries. We have vegetable stands all the way down Route 37. The Indians are running them.
Yeah.
And those cost, the stands themselves cost money.
Yeah,
right.
Or the person who owns the land might want to charge them rent to put their stand there. But
land's kind of an issue, right?
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's move on to land.
Yeah.
What do you think about land? Land's an issue. Land and housing.
Lot of land disputes
what do we do?
Going on. A lot of land disputes going on right now, and it's difficult.
Let's just privatize. Let's just publicize all the land. No one owns land no more.
That would go over well.
They'd shoot you.
As much as I heard just the other day, as much as you hate to admit it, your land is started out as tribe land. Later on, you got it common land through your family, or you bought it. But to begin with, way back, it was probably most likely the tribe paid.
Well, there was no tribe back then. It didn't exist.
You got to remember.
This iteration.
You got to remember. I'm trying not to get people, because I have to be nice.
Yeah.
But no matter what you think, you came from that non-coast.
Yeah.
In your past.
Right. Well,
you got, and they had a lot to do with this.
Yeah.
And so a council was made because of them. A government copied what they did.
Yeah.
So you got to think about that stuff,
Yeah.
And so when you talk about lands, how did they get the lands back then?
Yeah.
The same thing. I mean, I'm not a historian, but, in land claims, I mean, our government could cut us off that too. You got to take in consideration every little
Congress could wipe out the res with a pencil.
Yeah. I mean, they have, under the U.S. Constitution, they have that authority.
They have nuclear weapons. They can do whatever they want.
Yeah, pretty much.
Exactly. And you'll see it in the third world countries.
Yeah.
That's why I was always thinking about native to native trading.
Yeah.
Can we trade with these third world countries because they're Native American just like we are?
Right.
Is there a law? I like these questions like this.
Yeah.
And because you never know, we might have to start doing that. You never know. You know what I'm saying? Especially with this government right now, and nobody trusts them. They're all scared. They should be.
They should be. They should. But
I think a lot of now that I'm older and wiser, I think a lot about the stuff like this. I watch the news, and this is you're always mad your parents watch news. Jesus, they were wise. That's why they watch.
Now you're
news.
that guy.
Yeah, I'm that guy.
My dad's that guy.
Even when I was a kid, I was that nerd. I was like, oh, this is very interesting. But yeah, so I mean, you touched on something there that I wanted to go forward with is you talked about native to native trading, and you don't just mean like
Indians
us and the
to
Senecas.
Indians, no.
You're talking about
Overseas.
say us
in
like,
Nicaragua.
Nicaragua
exactly.
or in Asia to
Right.
open those up.
Right.
So that's what I mean. That's something that's
expanding.
really different.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You never know, it could be done. Just like I said, paying over the table and under the table. Oh, we can't do that with federal reserve. Yes, you can. I've seen them do it in states. They paid cash.
Yeah.
And these are monster jobs. And so that over the table, under the table, just because we're fed, that's bull.
Right. We're not just going to legitimize
Yeah,
the
you can
open
pay
market.
cash.
Yeah.
So this
will help out people you think are retired who busted their ass out of life.
Yeah.
You think they want to stay in a room all day? No, they don't. They like to work too. Well, we got easy jobs, then hire them. Because I'll guarantee you can get 40 hours out of them because they worked all their life.
Right.
They're just bored. They want to work. Well, get them out there and hire them when they apply. Don't laugh at them because they're old. They actually will be one of your best workers.
Yeah.
You don't got to give them the hardest job in the world. It's an easy job. This is why they're applying to you because it's easy work. You don't give that to some 18-year-old kid. You know what I'm getting that? You gotta think like that I suppose when you own a business too,
So do you see that as a problem too? That,
Yeah, because I think
like the elderly, people aren't being
they raised
considered
you.
enough.
They raised you. You as their kid or grandkid should go see them every week. They raised you. Just don't leave them somewhere. You know what I mean?
Well, because that's
And
that's
that mentally, you gotta think about things like that. They raised you. They paved that path for your life. They taught you how to be.
So that's more you're talking about like the family care for
Yes.
the elderly because
Sure, it's a great idea, but don't leave the person there. Go there and visit them once a week.
Well, I mean, the state.
because I think that I actually think that the tribe does a really good job of looking after our elders. I do.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
they do a great job.
Yeah, they
So
do. But
you're-
I'm falling back on. I'm trying not to preach to you and tell you how to live your life. But as a chief, I can only give you advice.
encouragement.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm not telling you how to do anything. I mean, if you want to break the law, then be willing to do the time.
Right.
You know what I mean? Don't complain to everybody and cry. You broke the law.
Yeah.
Were you trying to provide for your family? Yes, you were. But be willing to do the time. And don't act like you think you're better than nobody because you aren't. You're the same. And that's where greed comes in. And everybody sure, it's nice to have things, but invest your money in something, Like invest in a French fry stand or something that'll keep your future of money rolling.
Are there any, because I'm wondering now, you said, it's whatever you got to do to take care of your family.
Sure.
Aren't there ventures that are outside of the law that should be out of bounds, though?
Of course. I'm just saying.
And this isn't us as Sage Against the Machine encouraging criminality.
It's not you. I'm for it.
Yeah, he does this shit.
Let's
all
just
the time.
I'm gonna be selling kidneys myself.
Let's all agree on one thing, okay? In Akwesasne, if that border wasn't there, there'd be no businesses. Am I right or am I wrong? Prove me wrong.
I think
if that border wasn't there, would there be businesses on the rest?
I think there would be businesses, but I think that if we're honest, a lot of the money that came to start things is because
every
border's
business
there
is founded on cigarette smuggling.
A lot of them.
Everyone, the ones that aren't are founded on drug
It could
smuggling.
be on furs, anything. There's a border.
Well, the older families that had a lot of land and money were founded on moving shit across the border 100 years
and
ago.
that's 100% right.
Liquor, skins, guns.
How many people would never? They don't want to admit that
because they're pussies
and they act like it.
And they're
it
liars.
grows on trees.
Yeah.
If there was a garden of money of it. No, there wasn't.
And the rest
if
of
that border wasn't there, there'd only be a few businesses on our reserve.
And the rest of it came from the federal government in the form of like programs and services and grants.
Funding.
Yeah.
Well, you know what, too? They, the straw man white guy being the front, really funding it, and then running things behind the scenes.
He has no choice because usually their businesses or their homes are on your land.
Yep.
It's more like you're a landlord to them and they're trying to
And we're just renting out our strange legal
grants,
contract.
all that good stuff.
Yeah,
exactly.
The quasi, and this even the courts will say this quasi nation.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I mean, there are many people who have, started businesses here who took advantage of that unique status that we have as, Akwesasne, get the funding from a white guy, and then
So we think
like-
weed is great.
Yeah.
There are a lot of other things we could legalize.
Sure.
now
Yeah.
That would make way more money than weed.
Hey, you know me, I'm all for legalizing all of that and making sure that it's
Like,
clean and
my goal would be
safe.
to bring the community together as
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Okay? That'd be a great goal. And,
I don't know how you have to give everybody mushrooms.
not really. Like, let's have socials, everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Right.
I mean, you're Indian. Act Indian.
Yeah.
Who cares what anybody thinks?
Oh, I'm for that.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Don't care what anybody thinks. You're an Indian. You're no different than them.
I ran on
They're
making
not better
Akwesasne
than
Indian
you.
again.
They think, some people do think they're better than you, but let them think what they think. That's them. That's not you.
Yeah.
You're normal. Bring your kids to socials, powwows, any event going on.
Mm-hmm.
And let's have it at the new generation. Look how nice that is.
Yeah,
Nobody uses
it
it.
is.
Man, it wouldn't be
It's
nice
beautiful.
to have socials there every month. And
Yeah.
have
But then
our
we moved the powwow
there.
to Cornwall.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
I went to it. And,
Yeah. Did you like it?
well,
It's not the same, is it?
no, it isn't the same. I felt kind of out of place, And,
Even though that's our land, the North Shore of
Yeah, yeah.
Cornwall.
That is- yeah, that
the
is.
shore of Cornwall is
Yeah.
our land.
Yep, it sure is.
it was nice seeing everybody there.
Yeah.
I went to a lot of events last summer, and I went to the school, the thing for the schools, the residential thing.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
Every Child Matters, and there was
Oh.
thousands there, man.
we
That was-
saw each other there. I remember
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
covering it for the paper.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
it
saw
was-
each other there.
Yeah, I like to go to those events. I'm out there with the community.
Yep.
I mean, why not become a chief? At least I'll be out there. You
Yeah.
can talk to me all the time you want. You can ask me anything you want.
Yeah.
If I don't know the answer, I'll try to answer.
So you're out and about. What
All
are
the
the
time.
what are the biggest concerns that others tell you?
Land disputes, unbelievable, everywhere. Land disputes, and they tell me don't change. Don't ignore us when you're in office. I'm not going to ignore you at all. And they keep saying that, and they says,
Well, I've heard it from a lot of people. I can think of one particular guy said,
I've worked with every race you can ever. Do you honestly think
yeah.
the people that I'm going to ignore? I
Yeah.
worked with every race there was out in the world. I sit on subways, I sit on the bus in cities, I sit with them.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? We live like homeless when we're out there in these cities. You know what I mean? Honestly, do you think I'd actually ignore people? Hell no. And I need ideas. It's not like I'm some smartest person around. And when there's meetings and you raise your hand, I want to hear your knowledge. Teach me it,
So land disputes. What are some things we could do about that?
Well, you got to go back to their family trees. I mean, I'm against an Indian ever selling a non-Indian land.
Yeah.
100% against that.
Yeah.
And the land claims, well, go for it. If you can get them as much as you can. I'm 100% for that. Sure, but if it's off this reserve, get it where you can. Get it where you can. You know what I mean? And expand, because I don't know, the future. I mean, right now it doesn't look good, but it might pass by. You never know.
It'll pass one way or another.
yeah,
Exactly.
I mean, hey,
get
nuclear
the
war might
land
not be
where
the
you
worst
can.
for us.
All you got is land once you get it.
Yeah.
And, that's like your brother if you're an Indian. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's like a piece of your family, that land.
Right.
Just like, look how sad it is when we'll see trees that are cut down, a big area.
Well, that
makes you feel bad.
It grinds my gears when
That's your brother.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You are part of
Right.
this world.
So what we like? Okay, for instance, across the road from number 9, they cut down all the goddamn trees and they renamed it Maple Lane. What the fuck, man?
Right?
Why are we building?
But they put a path there.
Yeah, they
And
put.
Indians are enjoying it.
Yeah,
And
That-
naming that with no.
I look at it like that.
Totally with no irony in mind.
No, here's how I look at it. They put in all the work to make a sidewalk, so now we go drive to walk around in a goddamn circle instead of having a fucking sidewalk.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, little things like that we take
Yeah.
for granted. As long as it's for the community, yes, I agree with that. Every little thing, whether, how it was made was wrong or not, it doesn't matter. It's for the community. And if you're going to be a chief and a leader, then give to the community and give. Don't take, give. And I'm not the healthiest person in the world. So in my life now, that's what I plan on doing, is giving.
Right.
Giving help and all, if I can, if my back can handle it, because I'm disabled now. But hey, I'd love to help out
Have you
those.
tried yoga?
I got the turntable to go upside down, everything.
Yeah,
You
yeah?
never think of, yeah.
How's that work? Does it work good?
I don't know. I'm giving it away, actually.
Oh, yeah?
I know I had surgery on my spine, so I don't
okay.
really need it.
Yeah, okay.
So I tried to donate it to what's that place for God? For the disabled.
The
Ira House.
Ira, yeah.
And I told him I can't lift it. It's kind of heavy, man.
Yeah.
I'll give it to you. Just go get out of my garage. Nope, nobody wants
They
it.
don't want to hang them upside down?
They don't want to lift 600 pounds.
Oof.
Because that's how much that turntable. I got the best one you can get. It's heavy
Holy
as can
crap.
be.
I want to put Isaac on it.
No, it'll work.
No way, man.
It worked. I was trying to donate it to them. I said, you got to be in there when they use it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a donation, you know.
Yeah.
Anything I can't do, like the weight bench I got on my bench, I'll donate that.
Yeah.
But I can't deliver it to you. I'm disabled,
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Sure.
you know.
So what do you think, what are you, the people, the kids, so what would you see as like your first project you'd want to tackle?
Communication.
Yeah.
Yep. Even if I went on the radio every week, but probably I can't afford, but I mean, just to let them know what's going
Your
on.
version of Fireside Chats.
I mean, the
Yeah.
radio's open to people being on there. I mean, the tribe does come on once a month. So
I think it's an every week thing, just
Yeah.
to get the business people, you know, let them know what's going on.
I mean, they
with
do.
their-
The tribe does own a TV station.
Yeah.
Do they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Akwesasne TV is owned by the
Akwesasne
tribe.
TV.
Oh,
they
yeah.
own-
It's
I know
not
that,
independent and objective like we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
It's not fully funded, self-funded, and objective.
I
And
mean, it is state-owned media, essentially.
Yeah. So I'm just normal Indian, okay? I've been around my whole life, born here and everything. I mean, but I will never degrade you. I'm no different than you. Even if I get in the office, I'm no different than you. I don't want people to think that, you know, always going to turn stuck up. I'm not going to turn stuck up. I work with every race in the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why would I ever act like that now?
Yeah, that's one
Nah,
thing for
Matt,
sure. I
you
could
know.
never see you, turning your nose up
When
at anybody.
you'd laugh your head off at me if I stuck my nose up in there and walked by you. You know what I mean?
I would. And I'd actually go
Who the
up
hell
and-
Speedy think he is?
wear
Look
the
at him.
bolo,
Look at him.
with a bolo tie
And
on.
you'd
Yeah.
get everybody to start laughing at me. I know you would. Look
Yeah.
at Petey's trying to act stuck up. Everybody
You know,
laugh at me.
I'd go right up to you.
Yeah,
and be
you
like,
would.
Petey, what the hell are you doing?
You'd have to grow your hair long and get a feather.
Yep. He'd have everybody laughing at me because everybody knows me. They'd all laugh at me if I tried to act like that. I couldn't even
Yeah.
act like that, to the truth.
Yeah.
So I'd get teased and laughed at.
Yeah, that's one thing I know you wouldn't do. I know
Yeah.
you wouldn't do that.
I mean, and just like I said, communication.
Yeah.
You know, you ask me something, I'm going to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never degrade you.
Yeah.
You know,
Openness and
unless
transparency.
you're a real bad addict or a real bad alcoholic, maybe then I would ignore you. But if you're trying, I won't ignore you.
Yeah.
If you're trying to be normal.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, man. You got any more questions?
I'm good right now.
I'm good right now too. We're gonna have to get a picture as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We
Oh,
keep forgetting to
jeez.
do that.
Yeah, we keep forgetting to do that. And then I have to use AI.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Although the one with me, I still think that's hilarious.
That was good. That wasn't AI. That's because we got a picture.
We really, you know what though? Well, I know, but we really should. We should do merch with me on it, and I'll just
That's the
because
in
that
jail.
shit's funny.
In jail. Well, we're Sage Against the Machine. I'm Joshua,
I'm Isaac.
and thanks for coming.
And
Thank
I'm
you very
Pete,
much.
Yep,
Petey,
Petey.
whatever you want to come.
You can vote for
here.
Petey on June 7th if you're a voter.
Yeah, please vote for me.
Yeah.
All the working people, all the construction, all the ironworkers, the carpenters, I've done it all. And all my friends and all my relatives on the reservation, I really, really need your vote. So
Go get
it
that
really,
union
really
behind
help
you.
me.
Yeah. Right. Get the machine.
Get every union. I've worked for 3 of them.
Well, we wish you.
711, 823, and 440. So
wish you the
truck
best of
drivers,
luck,
everything. Well, I hope so, you know. It's going to be hard, but I got to get in there first before I can try to do anything.
Yeah.
All right? So I really appreciate the reservations. Vote. I'm just the same as you. I'm not better than you or nothing. I'll never think that. Okay, thank you very much.
I'll take you away.
Oh, no.